Let's go Dolphins! The decision that could change the future of the Dolphins defense has been announced. What if I told you that the Miami Dolphins might be about to select a player who not only has absurd numbers, but who could completely transform our most vulnerable area? A name that many still don't know, but who is already being considered the best cornerback in the country. A guy who shut down receivers at the highest level of college football and who is already ready to dominate at the professional level. This is not an exaggeration. It's a real analysis. And if the Dolphins management has the courage, this choice could be the turning point we need to finally reach the Super Bowl. But wait, I'll tell you everything, the player's history and why this decision could change the game. Before revealing the name of the player who is shaking up the Dolphins universe, click like if you're a true fan, one of those who have followed the team since before Tua, before Tyreek Hill, since the difficult times. And if you truly love this franchise, comment below, go, Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange. Get ready, because this story is about to get hot. With the 12th overall pick in Dane Brugler's first 2026 mock draft, the Miami Dolphins are projected to select LSU cornerback Mansour Delane. And let me tell you, this might just be the steal of the draft. We're not talking about a random name being tossed into the mix. Delane is a player who, over the course of 4 college seasons, has shown everything you want from a future lockdown CB1 in the NFL. He's a guy who played like the best corner in the entire country this past season. Yes, better than the so-called consensus top guys. Originally a 3-star recruit, Delane started as a true freshman at Virginia Tech and spent 3 seasons in the ACC before transferring to LSU. And when he hit the SEC stage, he rose to the challenge, delivering his best year yet. We're talking about a 26.7 passer rating allowed when targeted. Just 13 completions and 0 touchdowns surrendered the entire season. That's elite, flat out. And remember, this isn't some 5th-year guy hanging around college. He's a true senior, just 21 years old, graduating on time, and already with 4 years of starting experience under his belt. And while some scouts will nitpick his size, 5 feet 11 inches, 191 pounds, with 30-inch arms, the tape doesn't lie. Delane's film shows a player with elite instincts, smooth transitions, and the kind of closing speed that makes quarterbacks think twice before throwing his way. He's sticky in man coverage, has no panic in his game, and knows how to read a quarterback's eyes like a seasoned vet. He's also a willing tackler, something that's absolutely required in Anthony Weaver's system. Miami's coaching staff won't tolerate a corner who won't come up and hit, and Delane thrives in that department. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. The cornerback position in Miami is about to look very different in 2026. Yes, Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas have been phenomenal surprises this season, but the Dolphins only have Storm Duck, Jason Marshall Jr., and Juju Brents under contract for next year. And let's be honest, as much as we want to believe in the potential of those young guys, you're not feeling great about going into a season with 2 of them as your starters on the outside. That's why the pick makes so much sense. Delane isn't just a flashy name, he fills a real need. He's not just a corner, he's the kind of corner you want to build around. We're not talking about a temporary plug. We're talking about the future of the secondary. And with the Dolphins' recent success on the field, they're not going to be picking top 5 anytime soon. This might be their shot at a true elite prospect at a premium position. Now, let's rewind for a moment. This isn't a forced pick. Brugler isn't saying Miami must go corner. But when you look at the top needs, edge rusher to pair with Chop Robinson, a replacement at right tackle for Austin Jackson, depth at wide receiver, safety, and yes, cornerback, the secondary stands out. Defensive back is one of those positions where you simply can't have enough talent. And in today's NFL, especially in the AFC where you're up against Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and possibly Caleb Williams soon, you better have elite coverage guys who can hold their own. Delane ranks above other cornerback prospects like Jam McCoy, Avon Terrell, and even the underrated Chris Johnson from San Diego State, another name to keep an eye on, but not ahead of Delane. The fact that Delane jumped from a projected day 2 pick to a top 15 lock in the span of a year shows just how much he elevated his game. And Dane Brugler, one of the best in the business, agrees, this kid belongs in the CB1 mix. Some might argue the Dolphins should prioritize offensive line, maybe even tight end, but when you look at the names available after pick 12, Kenyon Sutty, Francis Mauigoa, Peter Woods, Ty Simpson, there's no one I'd take over Delane. Not when you consider value, talent, production, and need all wrapped into one. And there's one more piece to this. Miami has been here before. Last year, many fans were pounding the table for Will Johnson at pick 13. Then again, when the team traded up to 37, they passed. That left the cornerback cupboard dry, and the Dolphins were forced to rely on late-season magic from Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas. It worked this time, but can you really bank on that 2 years in a row? And here's where things get even more interesting, because if the Miami Dolphins truly go forward with selecting Mansour Delane, this move could represent more than just adding another talented cornerback. It could signal a shift in the identity of this defense under Anthony Weaver. Think about it. When a team spends a first-round pick on a corner, they're making a statement. They're not just patching a hole. They're building a foundation. And when you combine Delane's skill set with the existing talent on Miami's defense, you start to see the outline of something special. Let's talk scheme fit. Miami's defense thrives on physicality and aggressive play. Weaver wants his corners to press, to challenge receivers at the line of scrimmage, to stay glued to their man all game long. That's Delane's bread and butter. He's a true man coverage specialist with the agility and footwork to hang with the quickest receivers in the league. He's not just reacting, he's dictating routes. That's rare, and he does it while still showing excellent discipline and poise when the ball is in the air. This isn't a guy who's going to draw flags every time he's in a tight spot. He's smooth, calculated, and confident in his technique. One of the underrated aspects of Delane's game is his football IQ. You can see it all over the tape. He doesn't get baited by double moves. He anticipates routes. He jumps underneath throws with perfect timing. And in zone coverage, where a lot of corners struggle, he's shown real growth. At LSU, there were moments when he'd read the quarterback's eyes, abandon his man responsibly, and blow up a play before it developed. That kind of awareness translates immediately to the NFL, especially in hybrid defenses like the one Miami runs. Now, let's address the physical side. Delane might not have the size of a prototypical boundary corner, but what he lacks in length, he makes up for in tenacity. The guy plays like he's 6 feet 2 inches. When there's a run to the outside, he's not watching from a distance, he's flying downhill and setting the edge. That kind of toughness is non-negotiable in Miami's scheme. Remember Jack Jones? He came in with a rep as a poor tackler. That changed fast. Why? Because in this defense, if you don't tackle, you don't play. And with Delane, you don't have to worry about that learning curve, he's already there. There's also the locker room impact. When you add a player like Delane, 21 years old, experienced, mentally sharp, and already a proven leader at 2 major programs, you're getting more than just a football player. You're getting a young man who's already overcome the challenge of transferring, adapting, and excelling on a big stage. He's been tested, he's answered the call, and he fits the kind of culture that Mike Mcdaniel and Chris Greer are building in South Florida. Young, competitive, high-character players who love the game and want to win. And let's not forget the economics of the pick. Finding a lockdown corner in free agency? That's a $17 to $20 million per year investment. And yes, players like Greg Newsome or Jamal Dean are intriguing, but they'll be expensive and come with risk. With the draft, you get a guy like Delane for 5 years on a rookie deal, giving you massive value at one of the league's most premium positions. That's the kind of cap flexibility that lets you invest elsewhere, maybe bringing in another edge rusher to rotate with Chop Robinson or finally locking down the right tackle spot long term. Speaking of which, I know some fans would rather go offensive line at pick 12. Totally valid. The need is there. Austin Jackson's future is uncertain, and you don't want to roll into a new season with question marks protecting Tua's blind side. But here's the problem, there just isn't a clear-cut elite offensive tackle projected to be available at that spot in Burbler's mock. Guys like Francis Mauigoa or Caden Proctor, they have upside, no doubt, but they're not as polished, not as safe, and definitely not as dominant right now as Delane is at his position. And tight end? Yes, Miami still needs one. But again, none of the tight end prospects available after pick 12 in that mock jump off the page the way Delane does. Kenyon Sutty is solid, but he doesn't change your offense overnight. He's a nice piece, not a game changer. And that's the difference. Delane is a game changer. If you ask me, this pick is about more than just 2026. It's about building a secondary that can finally hold up deep into January. It's about not getting picked apart by elite quarterbacks. It's about matching the firepower of your offense with a defense that can close out games when it matters.